Welcome back to Power Play. Today, Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the federal Conservatives, sent out the official text of his incoming confidence motion, which will read, quite simply, the House has no confidence in the Prime Minister and the government. But we learned today that Poilievre's motion is set to fail, with Bloc Quebecois leader Yves-François Blanchet announcing his party will support the Liberal minority government. Let's bring in the front bench. Sabrina Grover was a federal Liberal candidate in the 2021 election. She's a senior advisor at Spark Advocacy and North Star Public Affairs. Jamie Ellerton is a Conservative strategist and the founding partner of Panellists Limited. Former interim NDP National Director Carl Bélanger is with us. He's now the president of Traction Strategies. And next to him, that's Canadian press reporter Najud Al-Malise. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. Jamie, I'll start with you on this one. Do you think that the Conservatives anticipated this would be the case so early, like so well in advance of when that motion's actually voted on next Wednesday?
Well, it's definitely going to mean you have more issues you're going to need to talk about the Phil Airtime Vassy, because it takes the suspense over that motion out of the equation. I think Conservatives are ready for an election, and Conservatives are willing to continue to keep fighting on issues of affordability and things like building more housing in this country and combating the rising crime that Canadians are seeing on their streets. They can do that in Parliament from the opposition benches, but they think Canadians should be given a choice to give the change that Canadians keep saying that they want. And I think this is going to also create issues. I think the Liberals and the NDP increasingly are indistinguishable to Canadians when they look at how they're going to vote. And the longer the Bloc holds up Justin Trudeau's government, I think it actually creates more of an opening for Conservatives to reach more Canadians in Quebec who perhaps haven't listened to Conservatives as much as they would have in the past to make the case for them.
With the Bloc's decision today, Carl, the focus now shifts to the NDP. Peter Julian, the party's House leader, was on earlier. He said Jagmeet Singh will make his position clear tomorrow. Did the Bloc kind of save the NDP here from the political pressure they could have faced?
Well, it was a danger with the decision they made to pull out of the agreement. Is suddenly the Bloc's in charge. The Bloc has the balance of power, and the Bloc's going to use it. And I think the way that Yves-François Blanchet came out strongly today was to buy time for the Bloc Quebecois to negotiate with the Liberals. They don't want to go down in a week. They don't want to have that pressure. So they're removing that. And basically, the NDP's position is irrelevant at this point because the Bloc made the call.
Is it irrelevant, though, from a strategic perspective, Najud, insofar as what Jamie just laid out? Like the Conservatives plan to do as much as they can at characterizing the NDP and Liberals as one. So insofar as the Bloc tangibly holds all the power, does their positioning tomorrow still matters politically?
Well, I think it's going to be an awkward position because now, you know, if they vote, say, to prop up the government, they're not really getting anything in return. And instead, the Bloc are the ones who are positioning themselves to get something in return. I thought the Bloc leader flipped the premise of the confidence of the motion in a smart way and said essentially, this is a vote on, do you want to replace Justin Trudeau with Pierre Poilievre? And the answer is no. And I think that he said what Jagmeet Singh probably wishes he could say, because we all know that the most likely outcome of an election right now would be a Conservative government. And so you have the Bloc leader essentially saying, no, I don't want Pierre Poilievre as Prime Minister, and I'm going to take this opportunity to try to get something for Quebecers. For the NDP, it's a little bit of a different situation because they've given up the opportunity to kind of exchange for favors, and now we're going to have to find a way to chart a new path for them in Parliament.
Sabrina, in a week, a few days, a few months, the year perhaps of terrible moments for the Liberals, this seems like actually not a bad one. Like strategically speaking, it feels like they're calling everyone's bluff.
Has it been bad? I haven't noticed. No, you know, I think that
doesn't even crack the top 10.
I actually think that the opportunities that the Liberals now have in this like very dynamic minority parliament are really interesting, and I think that will come to a head in negotiating with the Bloc on things moving forward. You know, I think that the pulling of the supply and confidence agreement by the NDP did them absolutely no favors. Every week, Jagmeet Singh is going to be asked the question, when are you going to trigger an election, both by the media and then also by Pierre Poilievre. And so I think it's really interesting that they did that because they're not going to see any wins from it, and they're just going to be needle-nosed and thumbed to try and call an election. And they're in no position to call an election, right? You know, I think the power players in this minority situation have become the Bloc. And at the end of the day, I think it still allows the Liberals to pursue the agenda that they want to, but move back to the center a little bit away from the NDP. And they're also going to gain independence from a policy perspective and from a political perspective from Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet is not doing very well in the polls. He is not well liked. Like, this is an opportunity, I think, for the Liberals and for Trudeau to reclaim some of that space and to potentially come out, fresher with some better centrist ideas going forward.
To be fair, I mean, the Liberals and Justin Trudeau aren't too well liked in those same polls too. And the NDP did just win that by-election, so I don't want to completely, ruin them in this. But I do take the point you're making. All right.